Okay, cool. Welcome to my office that I'm currently painting. It looks like a hot mess. I probably should have chose a different angle, but it's fine. I'm really excited for y'all to meet Rebecca tonight. A lot of y'all don't even know her. The bigger our team gets, I feel like it's just hard for people to like get to know people. And I want you to feel like you are in Rebecca's living room tonight. She is just a super, I say normal in like a compliment way. Like she's just a normal, fun mom. And I want to kind of share with y'all a little bit about how her journey came upon, how it happened. Because I'm telling y'all, I lived in the same town as her for 2 years. She never did Plexus. We never talked about the business. We weren't even like, we were acquaintances. Like we were her kids' ministers. And so it was just, and literally it was like a few days after I moved to a different state that we started talking about Plexus. So random, such a God thing. I'm still a little mind blown, but I know that she's worked for this, and so I'm excited for y'all to just kind of see what she's done. Um, but I wanted to share this. I don't know. Hopefully, y'all can see these screenshots. So I sent her samples in February, and her response. Can y'all see that, Katie? I can see your face. Can you see response? Oh, wow, just happened. You can see that. Okay, she
Yeah, I
said,
can
I'm
see
not,
it.
okay, good. I'm not a fan of the lemon raspberry mix with the watermelon. I think you can watermelon only. I like it. And I'm doing the caffeine one today. Basically, she was like, hey, I don't like these samples. She did not sign up after I sent her samples. She didn't like them. And we didn't really talk about Plexus after that. I was like, okay, well, and then actually she didn't respond to me. Y'all didn't see the rest of that conversation, but I messaged her. She didn't respond back. Okay. And then in May, I made a post. It was like, hey, buy, one product, get one free cheaper than I can, that kind of a post, right? And she commented and was like, hey, I'm interested. And so I messaged her this as I'm like 80,000 weeks pregnant. Probably took me like 4 days to message her back, to be honest, because I was miserable. And then we started talking. Okay. So I want y'all to, the reason I share that with y'all is follow up is so important. Continuing to post, continuing to be someone's friend. Like, otherwise, she would have never, if I stopped posting and stopped talking to her, like, then she never would have been here. Right. And somebody tells you no, that just means not right now. Or if they don't respond to you, that doesn't mean they hate you. Sometimes it just means they got busy or they're not interested right now, and maybe they will be later. And that was Rebecca's story. And Rebecca, am I stealing some of the stuff you were going to talk about?
You're great. Keep
Okay,
going. You're good.
sorry. And then I want to share this one too, because this is basically, I typed it out. I sent her a few other things, but this is basically what I said to her in that voice message. She said, I think she said something like, how much is it? I definitely didn't read this before I shared it with you, so there's typos. But if at any point you want to get your products paid for, not even a business, just getting it paid for, I can totally show you how to do that pretty fast. My mom and my sister haven't even paid for their products in years, and they don't even do a business. So if that's something you want, holler at me and I will help you do that. That was after I had sent her the link, guys. I believe. I'll go double check that, but I'm pretty sure that was like right after you maybe signed up, or it was just like right before. It was
Right
right in
before, I
there.
think.
Okay. It was right before.
Right before.
Right before. Okay. So she was about to sign up. I asked her that, and this was her response. Oh yeah, because I told her the price, and then she said, "Sure, I'm open to a little side gig." Great. Now it's like a little senior Ruby side gig. Um, and then I wanted to share this because we did lots of three-way messages. I don't think I had a chance. I'll drop her first posts in our thread, or maybe you can if you want to drop those really quick, Rebecca. But we just did a ton of three-way messages, you guys. So if y'all are avoiding three-way messages, or you have somebody that doesn't want to do them, make them do them. And I loved how genuine you're gonna see. Here's her messages, but you're gonna see this as you listen to her talk. She is just her. Like she is sprightly. She is like a human fairy in hippie clothes with lots of colors, like literally. And it comes out in her messages. Like these were some of her very first three-way messages. And they were so good. And this was I put this picture of Parker because it was like she was helping me become best friends with her friends as we were talking. We would follow the system, but it was also very relational, very just like anyway, and she would like boost me. Thank you so much for all your time and help, Jordan. Like it was just full of gratitude, and you could just tell that she was just in it for the right reasons. And so anyway, um, and what did I do? Some of y'all are like, well, what am I supposed to do to create a Rebecca? Well, I was vision casting for her quite a bit, and she would actually, I asked her, do you remember me asking you this question when I was like, hey, what did I actually do to like help you go gold? Do you remember what your answer was, Rebecca?
I don't off the top of my head.
She said, she goes, well, you helped me a lot with like steps, but really you just believed in me and you made me
Oh
feel like I
yeah,
could do it. Remember that?
totally. Yeah, totally.
Yeah. And so this is like just one of those casual examples of how I was like just helping her with the next step, next step. You're not done. You're not done. And
Yes.
so, and she was receptive to that too. She's like super coachable. But anyway, and I also wanted to share about her posting. I actually went and looked at her posting. It was like March 30th. I think she posted like 7 times. I'm not kidding you, because I was gonna like screenshot them all. But she went Senior Ruby that month. And
Mhm.
so I'm sharing this with y'all because she finds every single little thing and turns it into a post. Every customer that shares their pictures with her, she turns it into a post. She finds a little gratitude moment, post. She gets an Apple Watch, post. Like everything is a post, and it doesn't. She there, you can just tell like there's no. She doesn't really care what other people think. She doesn't care if it's like perfect or systematic. She just shares, and it's just refreshing. And I think that's part of the reason why she's so successful. So anyway, and I love her pictures. If you go look at her pictures, they're just her. Sometimes it's pictures of her pink drink, sometimes it's pictures of her face, sometimes she sets timers, like, and then sometimes she does posts like this, the one she did on March 31st to help her go Senior Ruby, along with her amazing team, of course. But so anyway, I just wanted to share. She doesn't leave any stone unturned. She's constantly sharing before and afters, constantly sharing pictures of her and her pig drink, constantly helping her teammates post and then sharing their posts. And it's just fun. It just looks easy and just fun. And so anyway, I'm gonna stop sharing. And if y'all have oh, not stop recording, stop sharing. There you go. Okay, so if you can turn your camera on, great. If not, totally fine. Rebecca, will you just kind of share a little bit about your story before Plexus, dive into your steps with Plexus and some of your tips, and I may have some questions in between, so we'll just start there.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So, I am a wife. I have a really hot husband. I'm married way up. Super blessed in that department. I stalked him on Facebook. I relentlessly would not leave him alone until 3 months later he finally met me, and then after that it was game face on. I had it, but anyway, I love him. He is like the best thing ever. We have 3 kiddos. We have a little boy who's almost 6. Next month we have 2 girls. They are 12 and 14, and they are beautiful. Lord help us. I'm gonna need your prayers. They're hitting that age of liking boys. And let's see, we're business owners. We own a tree service. My husband does that full time. I work in the office for it. And I also own a salon. I've been doing that 24 years. So life is really busy. And as if that's not busy enough, 2 years ago, we decided to start a transition house. So my husband is a former addict. He's almost 9 years sober. And we decided to open a transition house for men who are coming out of rehab but are returning back into society. So our dream was to start out small. We started out in a really small space that we just jumped in on faith and kind of took over and started with 2 guys. And as of this week, we will have 9. So God has like hugely blessed us in that department, and we absolutely love being able to do that. So as Jordan was telling you, we met at church. She dripped some Plexus on me, and I completely ignored her. I'm so sorry. um, she gave me samples like she showed you, and I ignored those as well and tried to get out of even commenting about them. And then she moved away, and she could have been my best friend, and she didn't even know it. So bless her heart. I mean, we just had to go out about it a different way. So my initial why for reaching out to Jordan is because I was having migraines, and not just one day migraines, debilitating migraines that would leave me in bed for days on end. I would function as little as possible and nap as many hours a day as I could. I did not thrive in life at all. I barely kept my head above water, and nothing I was doing was helping. I had gone to the doctor, I was running tests, doing all the things, and getting nowhere. So I ended up on 4 meds a day, and I just felt like this is not a way to live. I'm not even myself anymore. I had no joy. I was a zombie mom. I wasn't even a good wife in any way. We had already started the transition house. I couldn't help those guys because I couldn't help myself. So I just wanted help with migraines. That's my initial and only reason for reaching out. I just wanted to not have a headache every single day of my life. I don't have to share with y'all how great the products are. You already know all of those things. You already love the products for yourself. But I can tell you my results were immediate. I've had one migraine in 10 months. One. It was bad. I'm not gonna lie. It was bad, but I've had one. And that is huge. So huge. So they have lasting effects as well. And that to me is like a builder of belief to say, I not only have only had one, but these are still working on, I'm still continuing. They're still working. So people ask me a lot, like, when are you, like, at what point do you quit taking the products? Well, why would I quit them? They are still working. So never. The answer is never. I'm not quitting them. My husband noticed within 3 days. I'm super crunchy. I like to rub oil on things and just, kind of rub some dirt on it and keep going with life. I don't want to use any kind of medication for anything. I'm so anti-meds. But when I started using these, he was like, okay, 3 days, I'm sold. What are you doing? Go ahead, order me some of that stuff. It's so great. He could tell a huge difference. So he was my first VIP. I was going to get my products paid for by making him pay for his own products, I guess. I don't know. But Jordan said, sign your mom, sign your husband, sign your sister. So I started signing, and it started with him. And if I had not stayed for the income, I would have regardless stayed for the products. And today, I will still tell you that I would still stay for the product. The product speaks for itself. It's good enough alone. And I want to build a belief in a product, not just an income, even amazing and love. So Jordan was away. I call or text her, need some products. She immediately starts dripping that business on me, and I didn't even see it coming. I mean, I was like, yeah, I'm down for a side gig. Why not? Ain't got nothing else going on board, Not at all. But I did want my products paid for. I also wanted my husband's products paid for because he decided he wanted them. But I got hooked on freebies. I am incentive driven. I didn't even know this about myself, but I love a good incentive. Like, give me all the incentives. I'm gonna be a goal crusher when it comes to incentives. So, pretty soon after I started, she started dripping cruise on me. Cruise, cruise, cruise. You can totally do this. And like she mentioned a while ago, I knew her belief in me. And the more I chatted with her, the more she built up my own confidence. And that helped. Jordan, thank you. That helped me so much because I had never had anybody who done that. So I went silver to senior gold fairly quickly. I mean, she was asking, I don't know if she has my timeline. Jordan, do you have that timeline? Did you want to share it?
Yep. Okay. So silver was in, oh my gosh, not that. You don't want that one. Okay, so silver was in June, August was gold, November was senior gold, and then ruby was February, March was senior ruby.
Yes. So when I went on the cruise, two things Jordan did on that cruise that completely changed my entire vision for this. She made us sit in a little powwow with these girls I had never met before, and I thought, why am I doing this? This is so uncomfortable. I did it anyway, but she made us write down like our top 10 goals, and she made us write it as if they had already happened. And I even looked back at those today, knowing I was going to do this. And I have like 4 of them marked off. And that is like huge because they were like visions that I never could have even dreamed of. The other thing she had us do was brag on ourselves. And that is something that I had never done before. It is really hard I don't remember. She maybe done like 1 minute. It wasn't long, but it was us bragging on ourselves and telling things that we were good at. And for me, doing hair for 24 years, that is not something that is common in this business to brag on yourself. And I think it's kind of frowned upon. And so for her to say, it's okay that you're doing a great job and I'm super proud of you, and then pushing that belief back in yourself, you're already this person, and you recognizing that you're that person, that was big time huge for me. So if you're not doing that with your teams, 100% get on board. It's totally life changing. So let's see. My big jump was from that senior gold to ruby. That's where my mindset in all of this began to change. I had a huge perspective shift when I started hearing feedback that said, well, I'm not a salesperson like you. I felt like every time I dripped the business on anybody, it was like, well, I'm not in sales and I don't like to push stuff and I don't like to sell stuff. And so I was offended by that. I don't know if any of y'all have been that way, but I was like, I'm not trying to sell you anything, is the way I felt, even though I am, but I'm not. So I am not in sales, I'm in service. And for me to change my own mindset about that helped me immediately change how other people were going to view me in that. The first thing I did was change how I posted. Um, I didn't want the public viewing me as I was trying to get them to buy something from me. I wanted them to see the belief of what the products were doing. My customer care went to customer service and I upped my game. I wanted all of my VIPs to know that I cared about whether or not this was working for them. I cared about whether or not that they were on the right products. I wanted to know if they needed to change their products, if they didn't like the flavors. I immediately became their one-stop shop for service. And I know places I shop, I go back because I love the people, and so I wanted them to come back to me because they loved that I was willing to help them. And my favorite part of a church service is going to be the worship and praise department. I love a good Jesus jam. I like some good music. But if you go to church and you only do praise and worship and never get into the word, you're going to go home missing something. You don't have meat for the rest of the week. You can praise and worship all day long in your car or in your house or on Divine Sound Radio with Alexa. But if you don't have enough meat all the rest of the week, then you're missing out. And so Psalms 100 verse 11 says, serve the Lord with gladness. And I found my joy in serving others. That had to be who I became. I had to be a servant. So the fourth thing I did was I went from service and I said, I'm no longer selling welcome packs. You're not going to just buy a welcome pack from me and Golly. You're going to use these products and we're all going to love them. So I began building a belief that I was selling them more than just a welcome pack. I didn't want anybody to see that. So that was between Senior Gold and Ruby. And on Leap Day of thank you, Jesus, for a leap day. I don't know if anybody else on the 29th of February was like, oh, thank you, Lord, for another day of the month. But I was like, praising Jesus at a leap day. And I was going to a state tournament for my girls. I was a chaperone with all these children's. I was driving for 3 hours and I talked to Jordan first thing that morning. And I said, I don't think there's any way I can do this. I'm literally driving all day long. I have like 3 hours of drive time. I cannot text. I can't do really calls with people. They're at work. How am I going to find these people? And I think I needed 13, if I'm not mistaken, that morning. It was a lot. So Jordan always tells me you got to move your feet. So I started just strategizing any way that I could see possible on the drive down there. And I have what I like to call the Jesus take the wheel prayer because I started praying for that servant heart again of I don't want to just sell to 13 people today. And I had to say, if this is not God's will for my life, then I don't want it. I mean, Becca wants lots of things, but that doesn't mean that's what God wants for me. So I was like, I have to pray if this is God's will, it's going to happen. And if it's not, I'm going to be okay with that because it's just not the right timing. I knew an hour into my drive, it was happening. I had zero doubt. All my faith was filled in that bucket and it was going to happen. So it happened. Jordan rallied with me. My team is phenomenal. They pulled out people that I don't even know where they came from, but it happened. And it was like the best moment ever. I sobbed. I cried with my girls. It was us in a hotel room and, they're crying with me and I couldn't quit crying. I called my husband crying. But I woke up on March the 1st as Ruby. And I will tell you, as wonderful as that was, and it was great, I swept Vegas convention by doing that, by going Ruby. It was like, everything just kept getting better. I felt like that March 1st day was like phenomenal. But I woke up with like that Brandon Lake gratitude anthem playing. You have a lion inside of your so I knew that serving others had just become my diamond goal. It wasn't just about making Ruby, it was about going all the way. So the verse that says, well done, good and faithful servant. I wanted that to be me, but I wanted to be on a whole nother level. So Jordan said, what do you do for your team? You're now a leader. Like, you have to lead this team and you have to lead them really well. So let's do this. We have a chat. My girls know that. We're always in a chat together. It's called Plexi Besties, and we constantly have something going on. We ask questions. We support each other. We do lots of vision casting and goal setting in there. I have a monthly jam session with my girls. First Monday of every month we meet. We also participate in Magic Week. We're going to bust it out no matter what it takes that last week of the month.
Hey Rebecca,
This month,
will you
yeah.
share with them what your beginning of the month meetings look like for your team? Because I think when you say goal setting, that sounds awesome, but there's probably a lot of girls who don't do goal setting on the first of the month. So what does that look like for y'all?
Yes, absolutely. So the first thing that we do, we meet at Starbucks. We make it easy. Like, people go through, they go to Carline, they come to Starbucks. We hang out there sometimes 2 hours, just jamming it together. We look at whatever the incentive is for the month. We cannot wait for that to get posted. So we're going to talk about the incentive for the month. We're going to talk about what it takes for your team to get there, and if that's going to push you to a rank or not, or what you have to do to re-rank. We check on, let's see, what else? Girls, can y'all think of things we do? We talk about, let's see, whatever the convention is, the credits for that kind of thing. We talk about that. We talk about personal goals that we have. Sometimes it's stuff that's going on in our lives that we can pray about. We always pray together. That's something we're always going to do. Kelly, can you think about one? You've done a whole lot with me the last couple months. Anything else we do? We did a jam session the other day where we just worked. I mean, we literally just busted out some. I try to think of all of my girls on my team as leaders from the first day they sign up. So I want to meet them wherever they're at. And I want their goals to become my goals, because I don't succeed unless they're meeting them. Like last week, Ronnie, I know you won't mind me sharing this, but the other day when she told me, like, hey, I made my car payment. Like, this was in like a few cents of my car payment, what my check was. I'm like, yes, like, she's a single mom and she's who I'm doing it for. That's what I get a joy out of. So, and Kelly on my team, Kelly Linderman's on there. I dripped all over her like Jordan did me, and she just would not listen to me. I mean, our girls played basketball together. We went to high school together. I knew I wanted Kelly on my team. Like, Jordan was like, find you somebody you want. And I'm like, she's my girl. She was number three on my list of 100 people. And like, the first time she came to I'm like, look at this. I was not quitting on you until you were on my team. Like, it was happening. It was going down. So
Do you remember?
I just like to meet them where they are.
Do you remember my first goal, Becca?
Say that again.
Do you remember my first goal?
Your first goal?
Yeah, I wanted to watch,
one
right?
person.
What, one
Yes,
person?
yes.
And that one person turned into, I want one watch.
That's exactly right. And she got how many watches?
2 watches. And I went
That's
senior silver +4 that first month.
That's exactly right. And she told me the very first meeting, I just want one. If I could just get one, how do I get one? I'm like, she's got this. She's got this. Yes. I also want, like, my girls to always know that their timeline is their own. Like, I don't have a set timeline for them. Whatever pace they're going is good enough. Like, you are perfect right where you are. I don't ever want them to feel like they're not doing enough. Like, you're not trying to please me. You're not trying to please man. You're whatever pace you're at is good enough, because comparison is the thief of joy. You're not going to find joy in this if you're constantly, trying to catch up to somebody else's timeline. And that's not a thing. So one last thing I know Joe wanted me to talk about was, she says this to me a lot. How do you stay so positive? How often do you say that to me, Jordan? Like, you're always so positive.
She really is. I remember a message she sent me. I can't remember if it was Ruby month or senior. I think it was Ruby month. And she said, I don't know what to do next. I feel like I've done everything, but I'm going to go figure out something to go do right now. And like, that attitude is what diamonds do.
Well, I hope in answering how I stay so positive, also answers 2 more of your questions, which is, how do I get 10 plus a month of VIPs? And how do I find my inspirational post? So, number one, full transparency. She told y'all this already. I am 100% transparent all the time. It is just who I am. I didn't used to be that person, but I am that person now. I will tell you that fear is a liar. Fear is crippling. Fear is paralyzing. And I refuse to live in fear, hands down. I was in a previous marriage that was abusive. And for years, I did nothing because I was afraid. I was always living in fear. And it crippled me to the point that I had fear of failure. I had fear of decision making. I had fear of regret and fear of guilt and fear of shame and fear of other people's opinions of me. And so by not making a decision every day, I was making a decision to stay and to live like that. And so one day I just said, you know what? I'm not doing this anymore. I refuse to live in fear. And so every day I choose to not live in fear. Big scary things now motivate me. Because I don't have a fear of failure. I have faith in Jesus. That's just the way I look at it. My faith is totally in him. His promises are always yes and amen. His promises are for prosperity and a future, and they pull you forward. They are for goodness for you. His goodness and his mercy will follow you. He is running after you with really good things. And if you don't believe that, you need to get back in that word and have some worship and praise music. And I simply Jesus jam every single day. I've got a playlist a mile long, and that's how I constantly stay positive. I will not let myself get in a headspace of stinking thinking. And so that I will not live in fear. Let the fear motivate you to do the next big scary thing, because failure is not an option. It's just not. Don't live like it is one. So maybe that helped.
No, I love it. And I want y'all to hear something too. Like she and I have really the other day, okay, let's just give you an example. Okay. We have not spent that much time together, and I'm going to prove this to you. The other day, I was like, "Hey, what are your goals?" And she said, "I have 2 minutes between clients." And so she called me. We literally had 2 minutes to talk about her goals. Like I didn't do this. This was her. Like this is her creating her team with her goals, her vision. She does the work. I'm just here to like give a little inspirational sentence, a little kick in the butt every once in a while. So anyway, thank you, Rebecca. Was that okay? Did you have anything else you want to share before we open up for questions?
No, go ahead.
Okay. Do y'all have any questions?
Come at me.
She's ready. And there's no stupid question here.
No.
Or anything that stuck out to you that you just want to like tell her thank you for. I'm gonna mute and then y'all can just unmute and ask.
I have a question. Sorry, I'm making dinner, so if you hear the oven go off, that's why. But so Jordan, you mentioned, either of you can answer this, but Jordan, you mentioned before how you did like a step after the next step and just kept doing the next thing. What were those things that you started with? And then what, Rebecca, did you duplicate down to your team that you liked that she did for you?
That's a good one. I actually asked her to do an event at the beginning, if I remember correctly, and you told me you didn't want to do one, right? Yeah. So we did an event later. She did post. She did do three-way messages, and so I was stalking her post. I would be like, "Hey, so and so just messaged you. What are you gonna say back?" And she'd be like, "I'm thinking of this," and then she would send it, and then we would do a three-way. So I literally was just like stalking her post, helping her send those first messages and do three-ways. And then she didn't come for this business. She didn't start for the business. And so I was just giving her little baby steps. And I was constantly asking her, "Hey, where are your credits for the cruise?" And she was like, "Oh my gosh, like this is a real cruise. I'm going to go on a real cruise." And so it was just like these little baby steps of like of the contest, seeing where her credits were, seeing her points go up, giving her little baby steps like that. Is that what you mean, Kate? Yeah. And then Rebecca, did you want to add to that?
Yeah, I just think that like because Jordan is diamond and because she's seen like where she started all the way up, then she sees a bigger picture. And I did not see that. Like when we were on the cruise together, and I was there with UK, I still did not have a big picture. I knew I had earned a cruise and that was fabulous, but my mind was never thinking diamond, even on that cruise. I mean, I put on my like what I wanted to reach by the end of the year, my goal. I wanted to go senior gold by the end of the year, and like I went senior gold in November, right after we got back from the cruise. So my mind just didn't think big enough. But there's that phrase that says, "How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time." And Jordan never said, "Here's the elephant. This diamond is your goal." She's never said that to me until it was that I seen diamond could be my goal. So I think those next steps are just depending on the person and what really motivates them. You know, for some people, seeing diamond from the get go is it, but for me, it wasn't. I mean, mine was those small little incentives till literally I got to senior ruby, and then I'm like, oh man, my next step is gonna be emerald. Like that's huge for me, you know. So it's
I
the little
quickly
things. I
realized,
think you just have to know the person.
well, that's what I was gonna say. I quickly realized she was a blue personality. If y'all haven't figured out personality types, it was very quick that I learned, okay, this is what motivates this girl. This girl really likes a fun trip, a contest, like she is in it. And so yeah, I just kept the things like that I knew made her happy and excited and her wins like right in front of her all the time. What else do you want to know? Any other questions? Lindsay Bonner, was this helpful for you? I saw you nodding a lot. I feel like you and Rebecca are kindred spirits.
Yeah, this whole time that I've been listening to her, I'm like, oh my gosh, we're gonna be best friends. I don't know when I'm gonna meet you, but we're gonna be best friends.
You're gonna meet her in Vegas.
This was great because I feel like I really, very long story short, I started in April of last year and then I quit in like October because I was like, I don't know, I just had this conviction and of like, I don't want to be on social media and I don't want to like, I'm just done. I remember Jordan reaching out to me too. And I was talking like, I love teaching. I don't feel this conviction. I don't feel led to do like Plexus. And she was like, just do both. And I was basically like, no, like, leave me alone. And so January of this year is when I really started pursuing it again. And I'm finally like, I have like two right now business builders that are like really pushing it and growing. And I'm like, I don't know what to do. Like, I'm just loving them through it and answering their questions. So tonight was awesome to just get to hear what you do, and events are something I need to do more of. And the goal setting at the beginning of the month, I love that. Like, realistically right now I can't meet my people in person, but we could Zoom or we could just call and be like, okay, let's talk. Like, what are we doing? So I loved that. Thank you so much.
And Ronnie and Kelly, y'all are on here. So Lindsay just said, like, she's learning how to lead people. So how, Ronnie and Kelly, don't answer this, Rebecca. How has Rebecca helped you guys, empower you guys as your own leader of your own team? Like, has she empowered you in that way? Is there something that she's done that's helped you feel like, hey, I am a leader, like I can do this?
Well, I don't have any business builders yet. Like I just started last month, so I'm like a little over a month in, and I've just really focused on just getting some VIPs, people to try the products because I've had issues with people being like, "Oh, well, I don't really want to start a business on something that I've never used the products." And I get that. It took me, Becca, how long did it take me to even share a post? Like I don't even think I told my husband that I was using Plexus until
Did it?
I,
So she won 2 watches.
he had no idea. I know. And then he found my products and he was like, "What are these?" I was like, "Oh, it's just something I've been using." He's like, "Well, I kind of noticed like you're looking a little skinnier." So, and then whenever I told him I was gonna like work it as a business, and he was like, "Oh, you've done this before." And I'm like, "I know, but this is different." And it was fun being a part of a group of women again who empower you and who motivate you and who just cheer for you. And it's like you can do it even on the days where you feel like you can't. It's just nice to have those girls just, yeah, just cheering for you. And that is huge. And I thrive on that. I told you it was something that I've been missing in my life for a long time. So thanks for not giving up on me.
You're welcome.
And I think that's what she does, Lindsay. She is just there to encourage them, to cheer them on, to give them a little kick in the butt every once in a while, to plug them. Like she probably doesn't do a ton of coaching. She's probably just like, hey, this is what I'm doing. I'm just going to show you what
Just
I'm
lead
doing.
by example.
Yeah.
I'm just leading by example. Yeah.
Yeah. Ronnie, were you going to say something?
She's just always checking in. And if it's just to ask about our teams or what we need from her, it's also, hey, what can I pray about with you or for you? What do you need? What goals do you have? where are you with the goals we set at the beginning of the month? And that's huge for me. I need that because I do stay busy and sometimes I get a little sidetracked and I need that focus. And she's amazing at that. I'm super proud to be on her team. I'm trying to learn from y'all.
You're doing great. One last question. Anybody have anything or something you want to say before we end tonight? No. Okay, this is the last thing I'll say, and then we'll be done. Y'all heard her say a big shift for her, and I think we all have these shifts at every rank. There are these big shifts that happen. And a big shift for her went from, okay, I'm gonna serve people. And did you hear her say, I'm not gonna give somebody a pack of hydrate when I know they need a triflex? Like that is an area of service. I am not gonna stop setting goals because I know that that does my team a disservice if I am not doing the things that I know I need to be doing. Like she has truly taken this and said, I'm going to be a servant leader. And really, like I'm learning from her in that way. And so, anyway, Rebecca, thank you so much for tonight. You are just so precious to me.
Thank you. It's been fun.
So, we're not done. We're not done.
No.
All right, y'all. We'll see the rest of y'all in June, by the way. So if you haven't registered for convention, do it. It is time to make the commitment to just do it. I feel like I'm ending a sermon. Go to convention. Get your pink boots so that you can be there at the Barbie themed farewell party. You want to be there, okay? All right. Thank y'all. I'll get this recording up soon.